Hi everyone, welcome back to Learn With Me. I'm Deborah Hanson. Today we're going to be looking at AP Psychology 4.6 Motivation Part 2, which is the second CED question in this section of Unit 4. So before we get started, thank you to everybody who's subscribed to the channel, and I love it when you hit the like button and you ask questions. It's really great, and I'm loving seeing the numbers go up. So thank you so much for everybody who's been helping me do that. If you're looking for the full slideshow, because I only use like basically pictures and things in this one where I'm talking about each of the different things that you need to know for this unit. But I do have on my Teacher Pay Teacher Store the full slideshow with all the notes from each of the slides that I talk about in the videos, as well as a workbook. And then you can also get the key terms on top of that too, where you've got all the key terms in one slideshow. So they're also on video, of course, that you can listen to. But if you like to be able to read as you're going along or follow, you can find the link below. Okay, let's get started. So on this slide, you'll see all the key terms for Unit 4.6. Okay, so this is for both CED questions, and there's a separate video where I'll go through each of the definitions and examples for each of these key terms. Remember, I always say the key to the 5 is the key terms. You've got to know your key terms. You've got to be able to apply them. You've got to be able to define them. You've got to be able to know what they mean. So however you decide to do that, everybody learns differently, whether it's, flashcards or just writing them down or doing Quizlets or Kahoots or anything that works for you, you really do need to know them. So the second CED question for 4.6 is explain how eating and belongingness motivate behavior and mental processes. So I'm going to go through all the essential knowledge that you'll find in the CED with some explanations for each of those things. Hopefully you'll find it helpful. So just a little introduction to eating and belongingness as motivators. Eating and belongingness are motivated by interactions between biological processes, psychological factors, and environmental influences. Let's get into a little bit more detail on those. Let's talk about the role of hormones in eating behavior, how your body uses signals to tell your brain when to eat and when to stop. First up, let's talk about ghrelin, also known as the hunger hormone. Ghrelin is a hormone released by your stomach when it's empty, signaling your brain that it's time to eat. It stimulates the hypothalamus, the part of your brain responsible for hunger, making you feel those hunger pangs. So for example, you know that growling feeling you get right before lunchtime? That's ghrelin at work. Now we're going to move on to leptin. Leptin is often called the satiety hormone. Okay, it looks like a funny spelling, but we say satiety. Leptin is released by fat cells to signal your brain that you're full. It tells the hypothalamus to suppress hunger, reducing your desire to keep eating. So for example, after a big holiday dinner, when you feel too full to even think about dessert, that's leptin kicking in. So together, ghrelin and leptin work like a balancing act. Ghrelin says, I'm hungry, and leptin says, I'm full. The system helps regulate when and how much we eat. So why is this important? Understanding these hormones can help explain eating patterns and even some health challenges. For example, high ghrelin levels might make it hard to stick to a diet. Low leptin levels in people with low body fat can lead to constant hunger, making weight management a challenge. So that's how hormones like ghrelin and leptin play a huge role in eating behaviors. Next time you feel hungry or full, thank your body for your amazing signaling system. Let's look at the role of the hypothalamus. We're talking about a small but powerful part of the brain and its crucial role in regulating hunger and satiety. The hypothalamus is a tiny structure in the brain that plays a big role in controlling when we feel hungry and when we feel full. It acts like a command center for hunger, responding to signals from hormones like ghrelin and leptin. The lateral hypothalamus, or the LH, is known as the hunger center. When this part of your brain is activated, it stimulates hunger and motivates you to eat. For example, imagine you skipped breakfast. Your lateral hypothalamus kicks in, making you crave a snack. On the flip side, the ventromedial hypothalamus, the VMH, is the satiety center. It tells you to stop eating when you're full. So after a big dinner, your VMH signals that you've had enough, suppressing your appetite. When these regions don't work properly, it can lead to serious problems. Damage to the lateral hypothalamus can lead to loss of appetite and weight loss. Damage to the ventromedial hypothalamus can cause overeating because the brain doesn't register when you're full. So to sum it up, the lateral hypothalamus makes you feel hungry. The ventromedial hypothalamus tells you when to stop eating. Together, these regions help maintain a healthy balance of hunger and satiety. And that's the role of the hypothalamus in a nutshell. This tiny part of the brain has a huge impact on our eating behavior. Let's talk about the psychological and social influences on eating, because let's face it, we don't always eat just because we're hungry. First, let's talk about the presence of food. Simply seeing or smelling food can trigger the desire to eat, even if you're not hungry. So imagine walking into the kitchen and seeing a box of donuts on the counter. You grab one, not because you're hungry, just because they're there. Next up is the time of day. Our eating patterns are often tied to social or cultural norms around meal times rather than actual biological hunger. So, for example, you might feel hungry at noon, not because your body needs food, but because it's lunchtime. So, and then finally, we look at social gatherings. The way we eat can change based on the people and events around us. So, think about a holiday party. Everyone's eating. So, you end up overeating just to join into the celebration. So, why does this matter? Understanding the psychological and social factors that influence eating helps us become more aware of why we make certain food choices. Are we eating because we're hungry or because it's just there? And this awareness can help us understand healthier eating habits. And that's how psychological and social factors influence eating. So, next time you reach for a snack, take a moment to ask yourself, am I really hungry? And if this video is giving you food for thought, hit that like button and subscribe now. Let's talk about the role of belongingness in behavior. It's a powerful human need that shapes how we think and act. Belongingness is the need to form social connections and relationships. It's one of the core human behaviors of motivation. We all want to feel like we're part of a group. This need drives a lot of our behaviors and decisions. Meals are a great example of how belongingness influences behavior. Eating isn't just about fueling our bodies. It's often a social activity that brings people together. So, for example, when families are sharing dinner, it strengthens their bonds. It creates a sense of unity and fulfills the need to feel connected. Belongingness doesn't just make us feel good, it has real benefits to our mental health. One, it can reduce stress by giving us a support system. It can increase happiness by making us feel connected. It can even improve mental health, helping prevent loneliness and depression. So, why is belongingness important? Well, it's a fundamental human need that shapes how we interact with the world. And by understanding this, we can appreciate the value of social connections in promoting well being. And that's the role of belongingness in behavior. So, next time you share a meal or spend time with loved ones, remember it's not just about food or fun, it's about building those meaningful connections. Let's talk about how physical and mental processes interact to influence eating behavior. First, let's look at biological motivation. Hormones like ghrelin and leptin and brain regions like the hypothalamus regulate hunger and satiety. Ghrelin signals hunger to the brain, leptin tells your brain you're full. These physical processes create the foundation for why and when we feel the need to eat. Now let's add in the psychological motivations like emotions, cultural norms, habits. These factors influence not just what we eat, but why we eat. So, for example, ever heard of stress eating? When you're feeling overwhelmed, you might reach for comfort food. Even though your hunger might be partly biological, the emotional need for comfort plays a role here. So, stress eating is a perfect example of how physical and mental processes work together. Biological signals might start the hunger, but your emotions influence what and how much you eat. So, understanding these interactions helps us become more aware of why we eat the way we do. And by recognizing both physical and mental factors, we can make healthier choices and address habits like emotional eating. And that's how physical and mental processes interact to influence eating. So, next time you grab for a snack, think about whether it's your body or your mind or both driving the decision. Let's look at the applications of eating and belongingness, how understanding these concepts can improve our health, relationships, and even our work environments. Let's talk about health and wellness first. Understanding how hormones like ghrelin and leptin regulate hunger and satiety, it's crucial to treating eating disorders such as anorexia or obesity. By addressing these biological factors, health professionals can develop targeted treatments and help patients restore a healthy balance. Next, we have social behavior. Food plays a huge role in building relationships. It's not just about eating, it's about connecting. Sharing meals can strengthen bonds and promote a sense of belonging, and this is why traditions like family dinners or holiday feasts are very important for emotional well-being. And then finally, in the workplace and school, shared meals or breaks encourage collaboration and belongingness. When colleagues share lunch, it fosters teamwork and friendships. And similarly, in school programs that include group meals, this can help students feel more connected and supported. So why does this matter? Understanding the connection between eating and belongingness helps us create healthier communities. In health, we can tackle eating disorders more effectively. Relationships, we can use food to build stronger social bonds. And in work and school, we can promote teamwork and inclusion through shared meals. And that's how eating and belongingness plays a role in so many areas in life. The next time you sit down for a meal, think about how it's helping you connect, whether with your body, your mind, or just the people around you. Let's just summarize everything we've talked about so far. We talked about eating motivation, driven by biological, hormones in hypothalamus, and psychological, social, and environmental factors. And then we talked about belongingness motivation. It satisfies the human need for social connection and impacts mental health. Here's our takeaway. Eating is a complex behavior influenced by internal and external factors, showing the interaction between physical and mental processes. So that's all the essential knowledge you needed for 4.6. This was the second CED question. Explain how eating and belongingness motivate behavior and mental processes. So hopefully you are feeling more motivated to keep learning AP Psych content. And if you are, make sure to hit that subscribe button for me and the like button. And if you have any questions, always happy to answer any questions you have about AP Psychology. Thank you for listening. See you next time.